Grand Admiral Thrawn will be making his grand live-action debut in Ahsoka. But what makes this Force-less villain hit different? Here's what you need to know about this blue-skinned master planner. In Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire trilogy, a legendary Star Wars character was birthed. Zahn's work reinvigorated the franchise's extended universe by introducing antagonists that were not Sith, but motivated by ambitions that did not align completely with that of the Empire. The big bad in Zahn's work was a tactical genius who cared about his men for pragmatic reasons and emerged as someone dangerous without wielding special sabers or Force-sensitive abilities. We're talking about Grand Admiral Thrawn, the blue-skinned Chiss officer who took it upon himself to dismantle the freshly built New Republic that was still finding its footing. The key to understanding Thrawn is Zahn's Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy, which serves as a prequel to Star Wars Rebels and takes place sometime after the events of Attack of the Clones. The trilogy introduces the Chiss Ascendancy, a relatively unknown oligarchic autocracy hidden deep within the galaxy, who are focused on their own advancement as opposed to working as enforcers for the Empire. Enter Thrawn, whose ambitions eclipse that of his people, situating him firmly as the face of the Imperial remnant after the rise of the New Republic. Thrawn's legacy is rather complicated. A lot happens in the Star Wars EU, and his fringe to canon pipeline is further complicated by Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm in 2012. As there is no official established timeline that denotes what's canon and what's not when it comes to Thrawn, it's tricky to piece lore together and speculate about his path ahead in upcoming Disney Plus shows like Ahsoka. As it is impossible to get into every Thrawn-adjacent arc without coming across continuity issues, let's keep things brief and precise. Believed to have been exiled from his homeworld, it is later revealed that this backstory was a clever ruse to confuse his opponents and gain the upper hand when they least expected it. Thrawn's fake backstory allowed him to gain importance amongst the ranks of the Empire pretty quickly, to the point he soon became an asset for Emperor Palpatine. Interestingly, Zahn originally kept Thrawn's arc short and sweet by effectively killing him by the end of the Heir to the Empire trilogy. However, the character's popularity led the author to write 4 more books, along with a tie-in prequel about Thrawn's pre-Imperial days. Disney's Lucasfilm acquisition also came with ownership of all EU material in the franchise, which included Zahn's extensive works on Thrawn, which are no longer considered canon. However, an unexpected book-to-screen leap happened when Star Wars Rebels co-creator Dave Filoni decided to incorporate Thrawn as one of the primary antagonists in Rebels throughout seasons 3 and 4. Although Filoni's decision allowed Thrawn to find his way back to canon, it's made his canonical history slightly unclear, with his EU adventures neither being canonized nor explicitly differentiated by a modern take.
The Emperor recently promoted me after my victory at Baton.
Either way, as Rebels illustrates, Thrawn is a delightfully Machiavellian antagonist that encapsulates the aura of his Legends counterpart, thanks to a measured, menacing performance by Lars Mikkelsen. The actor will even be returning in Ahsoka in his first live-action appearance as Thrawn. Thrawn's disappearance alongside Ezra Bridger in the Rebels series finale will even lead directly into the plot of Ahsoka, and it's speculated the live-action Star Wars film Filoni is working on. After Thrawn was reinstated to canon, Zahn made a comeback with fresh trilogies, including Thrawn Ascendancy, set in 19 BBY, while chronicling Thrawn's life over the years. There's tons of lore packed into these books, as we learn more about Thrawn's mysterious home planet and his supposed exile that triggered his rise among the Imperial ranks. Rebels also outlines Ahsoka's complicated relationship with her Jedi Master, Anakin, and how his transformation into Darth Vader impacted this dynamic down the line. After a time-traveling Ezra saves Ahsoka from certain death, Ahsoka prevents Palpatine from finding her friend, and is determined to search for him after his disappearance alongside Thrawn. With Thrawn gone, Ezra's home planet of Lothal was retaken by the Rebels. However, Ahsoka's mission to find Ezra had only begun, and the upcoming Disney Plus series will be zooming into this particular aspect of her journey. Finding Ezra means locating Thrawn, and Ahsoka is seen walking this path during her appearance in The Mandalorian, where Thrawn has already been name-dropped. Several years have passed since Ezra disappeared when The Mandalorian picks up, providing ample time for Thrawn to be waiting patiently in the shadows and planning his next move.
Where is your master? Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?
If the events of The Mandalorian are to be considered, it is clear that the New Republic is not doing so well, as it has inadvertently fallen into the same coercive trappings as its predecessor. There's rampant corruption in the new regime, allowing Imperial remnants to seep through the cracks unnoticed and sabotage the regime from within. While some efforts, such as the Imperial stronghold at Mandalore by Moff Gideon, have been thwarted, Thrawn's shadowy presence creates uneasy tension between the current regime's condition and what might strike them when they least expect it. The fact that fan speculation seriously considered Thrawn's involvement in the re-siege of Mandalore is indicative of how natural it is for him to spearhead a master plan meant to eliminate potential threats to the Empire. While the long string of lined-up Star Wars properties will flip between timelines, there are no serious antagonists threatening our heroes, except for rogue attempts at disruption, although Andor is a nuanced exception here. Thrawn is the only anti-hero who harbors the potential to emerge as a live-action big bad at this moment. The fact that his greatest asset isn't the Force does make him a wild card. Ruthless cunning, however, is a completely different game, and effectively alters the stakes in a galaxy that is precariously dangling by a thread. The question is whether Ahsoka will embrace post-Legends Zahn or incorporate aspects of the Heir trilogy, where Thrawn is never portrayed as a full-fledged villain, but a smart, admirable man with an ambition that dooms his sense of morality. Rebels flattens this nuance considerably. Here, Thrawn is motivated by power, and is seldom seen indulging in behaviors that can be viewed in a positive or neutral light. Will Legends Thrawn rear his head in Ahsoka? Or will Disney Lucasfilm stick to the character's impressive, yet morally one-dimensional Rebels treatment? We'll see soon enough.